that are up to 10 times bigger than the Milky Way galaxy. Something is wrong. We may have to revise our theory of the creation of the universe.
On March 19th, 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope captured something that broke every rule in the astrophysics playbook. 13.4 billion light-years away, deep in the earliest corner of our known universe, a massive structure began pulsing. It wasn't a star, it wasn't a black hole, it didn't even behave like anything natural. This object released energy in perfect intervals, like a heartbeat, flashing in mathematical precision and vanishing again. Even more bizarre, the surrounding space-time appeared warped, rippled like water disturbed by an invisible force. Astronomers are now asking, did Webb just glimpse a breach in the cosmic fabric or something else entirely? The signal Webb was never meant to find. In March 2025, scientists looking at normal deep-field data from the James Webb Space Telescope found something that no one had seen before. The information came from a group of galaxies close to GN-Z11, which is one of the oldest and farthest galaxies ever seen. Webb's NIRCam, which is meant to record light from the earliest galaxies, picked up a strange signal, short, sharp flashes of infrared light. Each pulse was just over a second long, and they happened exactly 4 seconds apart. They happened 7 times before they stopped. The signal came back in the exact same form 2 days later. It was thought that the object sending out these waves was more than 32 billion light-years away, but it looked much brighter than anything else of the same size and distance. No model could explain how bright it was. Quasars, gamma-ray bursts, or magnetars couldn't explain when and how strong the light was. That wasn't the only thing that confused experts. It was also how consistent and accurate it was. This wasn't just cosmic noise. It looked planned, almost like it was made on purpose. What was even stranger about the find was how it happened. Webb didn't even look at GN-11. The waves came from somewhere in the background while the deep field imaging was focused on something else. This means that the item wasn't being watched on purpose. It was found by chance, due to the way it was placed and the time it was seen. A finding that most likely should not have happened at all. Just that made people really wonder what else might be hidden in Webb's huge data files. NASA quickly reacted on the inside. According to notes that were leaked, the data was frozen right away. The researchers were asked to sign short-term deals not to talk about the study. Within hours, emergency talks were held, and data was sent in secret to astronomers at Harvard and Caltech for review by their peers. "We don't know what we're looking at," was written in one secret message. After the leak spread for weeks, that sentence was used as a rallying point in online groups. The thing didn't fit into any category. It didn't look like any known object in space. Pulsars have a regular spin and emission signature, but this object's signals were too clear and too bright. It was so far away that it couldn't have been a known galaxy or star. Webb's high-resolution images showed that there was no dust or gravitational lensing around the object that would make it visible. It was just there, bright for no reason, at the exact right time, and completely out of place. Theorists in astrophysics started to look into strange ideas. Some people thought the waves might have come from a Type 3 civilization that uses energy beams to send messages through space. Others thought that gravity lensing might be giving an incorrect picture of the object's distance or brightness, but most people stayed careful and insisted on more information. However, this strange thing could only be seen by Webb's very sensitive camera. At this point, only Webb had seen it. The fact that Webb caught it in the background made things more interesting. What if there were other strange things hidden in old pictures? Scientists at NASA started looking over older sets of data in secret. It was taught to look for short pulse emissions by an AI model. An original report said that 3 similar signals had happened in 1993 and 1994, but they were thought to be sensor noise. That noise was being looked at again. At the same time, people were talking about ideas. Online groups kept track of every piece of data, from the object's location to its energy signatures. Some people thought it might be a different kind of star loss. Others said that the pulses showed signs of organized patterns. Radio scientists who are not professionals even tried to copy the signal, but nothing came close to the accuracy and power that Webb recorded. NASA caught something bending light and logic, an object that shouldn't exist, but absolutely does. A structure that breaks physics. The tools on the Webb telescope quickly ruled out known celestial bodies. The pulse happened at the exact moment, to the millisecond. It didn't move like neutron stars or quasars do. It didn't shine with the chaotic brightness of a quasar or blink like a pulsar. Instead, it kept going in a steady, mechanical rhythm until it disappeared totally. This level of regularity points to either a problem with the observation or the discovery of something completely new. The light from this item didn't bounce back the way it should have, as more tests showed. Readings of the spectrum showed that there was no reflection at any of the known light frequencies. That meant that black holes, stars, and planets couldn't be there. But the object was still giving off something weak, scattered radiation that didn't follow any known pattern. Its pattern of energy looked more like the sign of gravity lensing from something dense behind it. What confused me the most was the shape. Webb's high-resolution pictures showed a dark area in the shape of a circle with a glowing border that was twisting in a strange way. It was called a void halo by astronomers because the center blocked all light and the edge seemed to stretch out into space around it. The shape of the outline wasn't random, it was symmetrical and almost too accurate to be real. It didn't move, flash, or get bigger. It just hung there, still and steady. Webb's tools also picked up disturbance from ultraviolet and X-ray light. These wavelengths didn't match the galaxy or any other close source. Also, the interference wasn't steady. It went up and down with the beats. In other words, the object wasn't just sending out light, it was also changing the shape of other messages. Radio bursts from galaxies nearby seemed to be twisted near this area. As scientists looked at the data, they started to compare it to models. The most accurate match came from theoretical models of artificial megastructures, which are big structures that are built to hold information or circle stars. Some people called it a type of Dyson sphere, but there was no thermal trace. Others suggested an artifact that had fallen apart, like the shell of a huge machine that was now breaking apart from its own weight. Still, there was no proof of anything, but patterns in the disturbance pointed to order, not chaos. Mikio Kaku was one of the first people to come up with a really crazy idea. He said the object might be an information matrix that works on its own, a structure made to handle or keep data on a galaxy-scale level. It would be different from anything physics allows now if it were normal. If it were made of matter, it would need a maker that is far beyond anything people have thought of. It wasn't just space junk either way. In the weeks that followed, a new idea came to light. Some scientists thought the object might be the shell of a megastructure built by a Type 3 civilization, which are beings that can control energy on a galactic scale. Their technology could make space smaller, collect matter from black holes, or even make fake worlds. This kind of building might have left behind something like this if it failed or was left empty. A broken-down object that still sends out strange patterns. One thing that was seen made that idea stronger. The item was picking up signals from far away, messing them up and sending them back in patterns. In terms of science, these patterns didn't make sense, but they did show something: repetition. Not the same thing happening over and over in a natural pattern, but more like data compression or signal encoding. This thing wasn't passive, whatever it was. A tiny echo of the object was seen in old data from years ago before Webb was launched. In the same area, other antennas picked up background noise that was not important. Webb's strength finally made the statement clear. After that discovery, people looked through old records again to find other strange things that had been missed. The thing might not be by itself. One more deep field picture, this time in a different galaxy, showed a second pulse. It had the same beat, but the breaks were longer. Not as clear was the form and shadow, but the signal pattern matched. This pointed to a network, or at least several pieces of the same design. When something like that is spread out over light years, it changes everything. Some experts made guesses about where it came from. Someone built these as beacons, marks, or places to store things. If the people who made them disappeared, all that would be left is a ghost that is still moving and speaking. And if they're still running, no one knows what they're for. In any case, space rules have been changed. Dyson shell or space-time mirror? A Dyson sphere is designed to go around a star and collect its energy, which can then be used to make electricity. But this thing doesn't gather, it reflects. The results from James Webb show that no energy is being absorbed. Rather, radiation hits it and bounces back in strange ways. What stars and planets do is different from what this does. This is more like a wall than a sponge. It hides, not gathers, so some scientists call it a Dyson shell in reverse. There isn't a star in the middle like there is in a normal Dyson sphere. It is far away from any star systems and in a deep, empty space. That alone disproves most of what we think we know about how energy works in space. That thing that was built wasn't meant to power a civilization. It was meant to protect or reflect something. The flash sequence really scared the experts. The object pulsed weak radiation in the patterns of 2, 3, 5, and 7 for several hours. In space, that pattern doesn't just happen by chance. SETI's systems picked it up right away because prime numbers often show purpose, not chance. It looked like a show, not just noise in the background. A few days after the Webb sighting, SETI experts picked up some strange static. The signal was very weak because it was hidden in radiation from space, but its beat matched the prime pulses that had been seen before. There was no source found, but the time made people wonder. Looking back, if it wasn't a message, it was at least a response to something. The space-time mirror was another idea that got a lot of attention. This could be a reflection instead of an emitter or a shield, not of light, but of the real world. It's possible that the object is a bend in space that folds light and time to look like our world. Is it real? If so, it's not sending signals, it's just reflecting our life back to us. After models of gravitational lensing were used, the mirror idea caught on. Light from galaxies far away that were behind the object didn't just bend, it came back in strange ways. Like a mirror without glass that only shows the force of gravity. This is not how dark matter or black holes normally act. It curves and turns without pulling or having mass. The Webb pictures were then filled in with deep learning image models. What they said shocked even doubters. When AI was done with the object, it made a hexagonal heart. That kind of shape doesn't happen very often in nature, and it doesn't happen very often in deep space either. A shell with 6 sides inside a hole doesn't look like any known stellar object. The fact that it is the same from every angle is even stranger. The structure kept its shape in every direction as the camera turned. Most natural structures bend, break, or wobble, but this one had straight lines. It looked like it was planned, not shaped. Over the vastness of space, something like that doesn't just happen by chance. Some think we might be looking at the remains of a very advanced society. It's not something new, but something old, a Dyson-like shell that falls in on itself. It may have once held a star or engine, but now it's broken and hollow. What we see could be broken pieces frozen in a beautiful last frame if it didn't work. Some people even say the thing wasn't made for us. It was put there so that whoever finally got the tools to see it would. Not to get in touch with us, just to see if we would see it. There is a breadcrumb in the void that needs to be found. It has been now. Radiopolarimetry studies give us a less well-known view. Waves that pass through the oddity have their polarization slightly change, then return to normal. That change in spin means the object may be bending more than just space. It may also be twisting the way energy flows, not taking in or sending out, just bending. That's more than just a shell. It's a machine. Some of the data points show that there is a time lag in the area around the item. Light signs had a fractional delay compared to nearby empty areas that were measured. That could mean that time is stretching or is distorting in some way in that area. There were small changes even in satellites that were keeping precise time logs. There is a difference in the speed of something in that place. Scientists think this object could be a wormhole, and what's on the other side may not belong in our universe. The Multiverse alarm. Astronomers saw something strange when the James Webb Space Telescope took a picture of the item. The object's size and brightness didn't match the gravitational field. Light bent too sharply around it, as if there was something much heavier there, or nothing at all. This type of lensing is a well-known sign of wormhole openings. It was the first time that a structure like this was seen so clearly in deep space imagery. Researchers from NASA and Caltech did high-powered tests on the data. Their models indicated that time frames inside the object's perimeter might overlap, bend, and recur. It wasn't only there, it was also interacting with different times. If you looked at it a certain way, the object was there yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Under normal physics, nothing in the known cosmos acts this way. Pulses that didn't come from our side of the universe were much stranger. SETI recorded short, high-frequency transmissions right after they were found, which were in sync with fluctuations in the object's luminosity. Some researchers think these could be echoes from other realms. The signals were strange, but they also followed patterns that didn't match up with natural space noise. It was like hearing static in a way that made sense, but no one could understand it. The scientists did a Hawking radiation scan to see if there was any decay, which you would expect to find near black holes, but there wasn't. The region around the item was cold, quiet, and steady. This turned things on their heads. It doesn't have to be the end of something. It may be the start of something new, a moment of creativity instead of destruction. Things became weirder back on Earth. On the same days Webb sent data back, magnetometers picked up strange readings. These weren't strong enough to set off alarms, but they were easy to see against the background. There were no storms or solar activity, simply a rise in magnetic noise near some observatories. Some people wondered whether there was a deeper connection that we haven't figured out yet because of the timing. Some scientists think we've seen a part of the multiverse. It might act like a relay or leak point if the object touches more than one dimension. That would make sense of time bending and data echoes that don't come from here. When the numbers add up, it's not science fiction anymore. And this time, they're lining up in ways we've never seen before. Some representations showed the object bending space in closed loops. These loops link places and times that shouldn't be able to meet. If this is true, the structure could be a steady path through time. This idea, which was previously simply a hypothesis, is getting harder to dismiss. It's like finding a hole in a wall you believed was strong. Quantum researchers put the object's coordinates into simulations of entanglement. The answers came right away and were specific, as if particles on Earth were affected. That shouldn't happen from so far away. But the models maintained exhibiting interaction, quicker than light, with certain spin responses. It made many wonder how something so far away could be so connected. Pulses of infrared light near the object went back to prime numbers, but this time, they were mirror images of each other, which could mean they are going back to where they came from. Some people think the object isn't sending anything at all. It might be reflecting something that exists in a different frame, though, not only presenting us a different planet, but also our own reality from the outside. AI systems sought to guess what the item would do next. The systems used thousands of historical abnormalities from astronomical databases as food. The results tended towards interactions between several universes, with some reports calling it a timeline breach zone. This isn't a theory based on wild guesses, it's based on facts. With each fresh scan, the typical explanation becomes harder to believe. One hint that has been missed is the gravity waves that were captured when the object was at its brightest. They didn't fit with any known cosmic events, not from neutron stars or systems that are falling apart. The waves, on the other hand, surged steadily and then faded away swiftly. It was almost like the item opened for a short time and then closed again. NASA's silence is louder than ever, and insiders claim the object is older than the stars themselves. What NASA has not admitted yet. NASA's official answer has been rather quiet. They've dubbed the signal anomalous in subsequent briefings and claimed it's still being looked at. The terminology is imprecise, which is plainly meant to keep people calm. Reports claim that meetings about the object are going more often behind closed doors. The public only sees tranquilly, but things are changing inside NASA. A topic on Reddit has gotten a lot of attention. Someone who said they worked for NASA posted about something named Echo 9. They explained it had to do with the object's signal, which repeats every 9 minutes. The post says that this signal is continuous, symmetrical, and consistent, which means it is too accurate to be natural. Some people believe that Echo 9 is not a name, but a warning. People are going through Webb's archive again. For the past 18 months, a number of failed scans were written off as system noise, but scientists at different observatories think the patterns are the same as those of what is now known as Echo 9. The signals might have been there the whole time, but noise filters hid them. If that's true, this thing didn't show up. It's always been there. That's what's making people worry. Not only are experts scared of what the thing is, they're scared about how others may respond. There are already hypotheses on social media concerning time travelers, extraterrestrial hubs, and old technology. NASA's quiet might not be because they want to keep things secret, but because they don't want to cause fear. Things spiral out of control when there is too much too quickly, but the pressure is rising. The mission is now being joined by the European Space Agency. Their Euclid telescope is looking at the same area at the same time. It has improved cosmology tools that could pick up on more nuanced signals. By the third quarter of 2025, it is projected that Euclid and Webb will have confirmed each other's work. They might also find something that breaks current models. The repeating pulses don't act like any natural waveform. Some scientists think they are deliberate because they don't echo radiation or gravitational lensing. Some people even say that the object might be sending out a pattern that starts over. It's almost like time is starting over. A physicist from MIT who looked at the waveform saw a weird pattern inside the pulse. When you look at the series on a graph, it looks like a fractal. Fractals can be found in nature, but not in cosmic radiation. This one is organized and repeats in the Fibonacci sequence. It could be more than a signal. It could be a message. The effects are going beyond physics and into philosophy. What if this thing isn't asking us if we're alone, but if we were ever supposed to be in this universe? That's what one astronomer said in a tweet that has since been deleted. The idea isn't that it's alien, it's that we might be an exception, a result of a system we don't know how to use. More and more people are wondering if this thing is man-made and has a purpose. If that's the case, it's more than just a technological wonder. It would have to have come before not only human civilization, but also Earth. Some estimations say that the item is older than the light that surrounds it. That shouldn't be possible with the way physics works now. The James Webb Telescope was made to look back in time, but it might have looked too far and identified something that shouldn't be there. This object could symbolize something or someone knew we would eventually look that far if it was put where it is. That alters how we think about observing and planning in space as a whole. It points to design, not chance. This finding also brings up another issue that hasn't been talked about in public yet. If the signal is repeated or looping, it can suggest that the object isn't sending out a signal. It might be responding, and if it's responding, that suggests something made it happen. That theory gained ground after magnetometers on Earth picked up transient interference during Webb's detection windows. It wasn't very strong, but it was in time with the peaks of the signal. Scientists at CERN said it had nothing to do with it, but some people think it was the signal bouncing back and getting to us in ways we don't yet know. The James Webb Telescope was designed to look back in time, but no one expected it to uncover something that might not belong to our universe at all. Whether it's a wormhole, a relic of a long-dead civilization, or a naturally impossible object, one thing is certain: it challenges everything we know about space, time, and even our own place in it. NASA may not have the answers yet, but as more telescopes join the hunt, the world will be watching. This isn't just about what's out there, it's about what it means to be here.